Morrison's workshop. What really goes on out here, Don?
Oh, well, I make guitars. I've been doing it for about 20 years, and they're a bit unique because they're called Resonator guitars, invented in the 20s before they had electronic amplification, and so they were much louder. And I make most of mine out of steel, old sheets of corrugated iron that I find around, and that's like an example of the stuff I use. I walk on it to flatten it out, and then I put it through some rollers to flatten it out even more. That's got to go through the rollers, and use that sort of stuff that I find around, and we make it into guitars. And I've got one here that's sort of half done. It's a single cone, we call it Resonator, because it has a cone that makes the sound. Goes in there, and that's made out of old corrugated iron, and I got that stuff is from about 1910, Adams Mars, and I find, you know, the corrugated iron all has stamps on it, or a lot of it has, so I'm always on the lookout for those, and you get some back into the 1800s. You know.
So they'll all be unique in a way?
Yeah, well, there's, you know, lots of these stamps, but there's lots of different ones, so yeah, I put it on, I've got all different sorts that I put on people's guitars, and so that sort of, yeah, makes them unique in, you know, from my perspective anyway. And this is single cane. It has a cover plate, old red roof, bit of metal, so you can see that. So that's it. Oh, and the neck, which is not done, but there's a lesson on how to make a guitar, everybody. So that's what I do, and this is guitar number 384.
And just in Australia, you sell them within Australia? Or?
No, I still, depends on the Australian dollar. If that's low, I sell a lot in America and Europe.
Oh.
At the moment, when I first started, almost everything I went to the US, but now mostly in Australia, and I've got actually a couple of orders on hand now for US, and one for Germany and one for Norway.
What's the brand of your guitars?
Donmo, D-O-N-M-O, yeah.
Oh, that's what to look for.
Morrison, that's right.
Yeah. And they're always used in that loud, bluesy, strong, very powerful music?
Well, that's what they're traditionally used for, you know, lots of bottleneck and blues and jazz. There's, you know, the old gypsy jazz stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Chords, tricones, they use them for. But generally that sort of stuff, I probably use them less for that than most people, you know, but when I play.
Speaking of playing, do you want to give us a couple of your songs?
Yeah.
We haven't explained that you're a songwriter.
No, I'll play as long as you got the film in the camera. That's right. And I should tell you about the guitar I use. So this is the guitar I'll be using today, and it's important to me because my dad used to stay out at his aunt and uncle's place in a place called Perponda, which is out in the Murray Mallee. And it's, you know, close to nothing, and he stayed out there for a few years living there, and he always used to talk about it a lot. So one day I went back there recently, a couple of years ago, and there's nothing there. I think there's one inhabited house in the whole kilometre, you know, and but there was a pile of rubble that I got a sheet of tin from, that I made the front and the back, and the neck is made from a fence post that used to be on the railway line. That's long since ripped up, but there was a few fence posts left, some cypress pine, and I got this massive fence post about that big that I dug out, and there was just enough wood left that wasn't rotten to make the neck and the fretboard. So this is called the Perponda guitar because that's where it's from, and so you know, I like the idea. It's even got PER still written there. I found the sheet, there was J&G. It was a delivery to Perponda, and so when I play with a band I use a pickup, otherwise solo microphone's fine because they're so loud, you know.